Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 1 is one of the greatest games ever created. Released in 2012, the game paved way for many games to follow. From episodic games to storytelling to choice-based, this was the gold standard and still is to this day. It's what put Telltale on the map, spawned 3 sequels, but why is it a masterpiece? Well, I'm going to break it down, but to put it simply, it did everything right. The characters were phenomenal, it kept its plot and reach simple and straight to the point, and it made its decisions matter in the moment. One thing I realized playing this game for my 4th time overall, and this time for the celebration of 10 years, was how simple everything is. Stories don't have to be simple. There's many complex narratives that do fantastic, but for something like The Walking Dead, or at least for this game, keeping it simple really enhanced everything else. A man being taken to jail, which leads to a car crash, which leads to finding a little girl, which leads to finding a group, and then their task to survive. That's it. That's the story of this game. And through this, we meet the amazing cast. We meet Clementine, we face struggles, we face major decisions, and we face survival. It couldn't be easier, and it enhances all the other aspects of this game, letting us focus on those things instead of worrying about the most complex story details. The story stays simple throughout all 5 episodes, as well as keeping tasks very straightforward and one at a time. This game is made from its characters. Without them, the relationships with each other, and their personalities, the game wouldn't work. From our leading man and Lee to side characters like Ben, Omid, or Krista, everyone is detailed and complex. You won't fall in love with all of them. In fact, quite the opposite. Some characters here you're guaranteed to hate, but that's part of the game. That's realistic. These are all characters brought together through the worst of circumstances, and they're not all guaranteed to get along or see something the same way. Characters like Kenny jump off the screen lovable at times to your best friend needing to be reeled in at others. Kenny quickly becomes one of the best side characters not only in this game, but in my opinion, of all time. Characters like Lily have their own personal issues, but again, are presented in a way where you get it, and you have the choice to fully side with them, fully disagree, or find somewhere in the middle. There really isn't a weak character in the game. There's characters that drive you crazy, like Ben, but even characters like him serve their purpose. This game is one of the most well-rounded casts ever presented in any game. While Clementine goes in and out of this game, it could be argued in screen time Kenny is the secondary lead to Lee. This game is built off of the relationship between Lee and Clementine. The father-daughter relationship is simple but difficult to pull off. If one becomes too annoying or too unbelievable, it all falls apart. This is easily the game's biggest strength. Between the strength of the voice actors themselves, along with the voices of every other character, these two are the gold standard of how to do a relationship like this in any game. You believe it immediately, nothing is too far-fetched, and you as the player wants Lee to protect Clementine. You're not doing something against your will. From the moment Lee and Clementine meet, you want yourself as Lee to do whatever he needs to do to keep her safe. And not for 1 second does that change. The dynamic between the two grows and maintains an incredibly high level for all 5 episodes, obviously reaching its peak right at the end. This game does an incredible job of making every moment matter. The second-to-second gameplay and walking around and interacting isn't much to talk about, but what the characters are doing and what the plan of the group is always moving and keeping things interesting. Again, all through the blanket of simplicity. Nothing is too crazy, survival is the main element. And through that, we get the farm, the train, the city, and much more, each presenting new characters and new situations to get through as the game pushes on to episode 5. There's no filler episode, each one feels impactful in some way or another, whether it's making huge decisions, meeting new characters, or losing old ones. Character motivations weave through it all as well. Kenny's constant want to get to the water, Lee just wanting to keep the group together and be okay, Clementine's want to find her family while she still has some hope of them being alive. All are massively important and plays a role in the decision-making process as the game goes on. One of the best video game endings of all time. Impossible to not feel something. Saying goodbye to Lee is one of the saddest moments of any game. I remember playing this the night before Thanksgiving when it was released, and I just didn't speak. The sad truth that Lee would not be with Clementine any further was rough, but him teaching her valuable tools of survival in his last moments were beautiful. And when it came time to say goodbye and decide to shoot him or not, I always chose to. The emotional impact is hard to put into words. That scene was masterfully pulled off by everyone, but Clementine really sold it. You completely believed her in the moment, the sadness, the cries for Lee to not go. It's incredible how good it was. The entire game was spectacular, but that ending specifically is one that will always stand the test of time. A daughter saying goodbye to her father, Lee. Every aspect of this game shines. It's hard to come up with weaknesses, and what you can come up with is easily trumped with all of the good. A bleak world that's always moving, a story that keeps things simple, yet gives you a massive say in every decision. An all-star cast that lets you decide how to approach. An amazing relationship between Lee and Clementine. This game really does have it all. The rest can completely melt away, and still the story, the simplicity, and the characters can carry it all the way to being one of the best games of all time. Telltale made something extremely special here, a game that made them as developers, a genre-defining game we've seen other games try to copy, even now 10 years later. This game has aged extremely well and is still one of my favorite games of all time and one of the most important games ever created. Well, guys, let me know what you thought of this in the comments below. Let me know any suggestions for future videos like this, whether it be movies or games. You can let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the bell icon so you guys know when all of these videos go up, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.